Hi everyone, it is me, the Chipmunk. Well, we're going to take time out for now, out of our regular scheduled programming, if you will, to concentrate on something a little bit different. It's not too different. It's on a subject that I've talked about before in the past. That subject being, of course, superheroes and their inability, or that is, the creator's inability to allow superheroes to have, say, uh, a personal life, where they're allowed to evolve as characters and move on, say, get married, have a family, those type of things. Um, I've gone on and talked in the past, of course, about my experiences with Spider-Man and what happened with his personal life and how his family, child, and wife were all eventually destroyed and then wiped out of continuity because the makers, not only of Spider-Man, but a lot of superheroes in general, feel that giving a superhero, say, a steady relationship or a wife or children, they view it as a problem and an obstacle rather than an opportunity to expand the character and the stories around them and build more drama and something more personal at stake than just fighting the villain of the week or the month or, saving the world the 100th time over. Up until very recently, it's been made very clear by pretty much everyone in the superhero business, from Marvel to DC to whatever you read and whatever you watch, including movies and television, that superheroes will never be allowed to have a personal life. It will always be just about the threat of the week and fighting the villain and nothing else. That is, until something completely unexpected happened just very recently. Now, I have not been keeping up with comic books or what's been going on in the comic book industry. The last review we did was on Spider-Woman and her pregnancy, and when that came to an end, I didn't read any further because I've really just been burned so many times by comic books, especially Marvel and what they've done with their characters, that I frankly just gave up on superheroes altogether. So there has never been any need or any real motivation for me to start reading comic books again, outside of subjects like that with Spider-Woman and her unexpected pregnancy storyline that we did last year. But like I said, something happened unexpectedly recently, and the only reason I know about it is because I still keep up with a little bit with what's going on in the comic book world around YouTube and people who make videos about that sort of thing and pop culture and whatnot. And it turns out that DC just recently rebooted their universe again, and they've retconned some things, and the short end of it is this. Superman, the main Superman of the DC universe from now on, has a wife, Lois Lane, of course, and not only that, but they also have a son, a small boy. So, from now on, at least from what I'm hearing, Superman will not only be married again to Lois Lane, but he will also have a child. They have a family. And this is supposed to be, from what I'm hearing, is going to be the Superman we're going to see from now on as the main Superman of the DC universe. Now, if this holds, and it's not some gimmick to just bring in new readers and then they take it out immediately and get rid of it, I may just become a DC fan, and I may have to start reading DC Comics again, if for no other reason than to see a nice storyline like this, because it's so refreshing to finally see something happy and something good happen in a comic book series. As you know, any of you who have kept up with what I was saying about Spider-Man in the Marvel Comics, and by the way, I will have links to those videos that I did on this video to try and give people a perspective of what I'm talking about here. But to sum it up real quick, if you've been keeping up with what I've been saying about Spider-Man, Spider-Man back in the 90s was married to Mary Jane, and he was married to her for quite a long time. But Marvel always thought it was a bad idea. They thought they had to get rid of it. And when Mary Jane was made to be pregnant in the 90s during the Clone Saga storyline, Marvel just saw all of that as a problem. They got rid of the child by having Mary Jane's baby die by the hands of the Green Goblin, and then later they just retconned the marriage and everything out of the continuity of Spider-Man altogether in the storyline called One More Day. Now, I'm not going to get back into all of that again, but what I am going to get into is the fact that finally we have a mainstream, very popular, recognized superhero being allowed for really the first time ever in history to be allowed to have not only a wife, but a son, a family, a complete family of his own. And apparently this is going to be, from what I'm hearing, a permanent thing. This blows my mind, because for so long we've heard nothing but how marriage really has no place in comic books. It has no place with these superheroes. In fact, someone from DC some time ago said that these heroes, as they are written, are people who realize at the end of the day they cannot have things like relationships and family and things like that. All they can do is just try to save people and be heroes, but they cannot have any kind of personal life for themselves. Now, that has been the role for almost all superheroes since I can think of. The rare exception was when, of course, they had Spider-Man and his wife, Mary Jane at the time, married, and sort of accidentally managed to write themselves a storyline where Spider-Man not only had a wife, but he almost had a family of his own. And, of course, Marvel viewed that as a problem and got rid of it. And subsequently made me not want to read Spider-Man ever again. This really puts that whole notion that superheroes cannot have wives, they cannot have children, they cannot have families of their own and personal lives of their own, really out the window. It just destroys that, because this is not just some hero in a comic book. This is Superman, the Superman. And DC has decided to do this wonderful thing and really go there and give this character a personal life, something more to fight for than just fighting the villain of the week or saving the world or whatever cosmic threat comes along. This is going to make the book more readable, I believe. I think a lot more people are going to find it interesting and enjoyable, and it may just end up bringing me to DC and to comic books in general again. Because for so long I've been thinking there's nothing there for me. These characters can never go anywhere. The writers of the superhero genre, will not allow these characters to evolve and go beyond in their personal lives. They can only be just these heroes who fight the villain of the week and do their little superhero thing, save the world, and rinse, repeat, start the whole thing all over again in the next issue. The only thing about this happening now is, what is Marvel going to say as an excuse why Spider-Man, or any other hero for that matter, cannot have a personal life of their own? Because if this goes well, and people like the idea of Superman having a family, being married to Lois Lane, having a son, having a family, and having a personal life outside of just being the guy who fights the threat of the weak and saving the world, what is their excuse going to be for not allowing any of their characters, especially the main characters, moving on in their personal lives? I'm sure they'll come up with something, and I'm sure the excuse will be nobody's demanding it, nobody cares, can't do that with Spider-Man, can't do it with this character, can't do it with that character, because they have reasons. But of course the only reason they have is the fact that they do not like it and will not do it. But the people at DC have. And so, hats off to them. This is a very good move on their part, allowing Superman to have a wife and a family of his own. Like I said, I think it's going to bring in a lot of people who either have not read comics or may not have read them in a long time, and it may make them want to read them again. Because I have to tell you, I'm seriously thinking about reading Superman again. Now, I was always a Marvel fan. I used to read Spider-Man. I never really was into Superman. I do have the original issue where he was married back in the 90s. Uh, but I have to say, this has just re-energized my interest again in comic books. So I may just have to pick up an issue of Superman and read it and see what's going on, because this sounds like it's really getting interesting over there. So while most likely we will never have something like this happen with Spider-Man or anything like this in Marvel, because Marvel is just it's horrible. They do not do a good job in their comic books. The movies are a different thing, but even there, they're still going by the rules that these heroes cannot have a personal life. They can't have anything interesting happen to them. That may change. I doubt it, but we'll see, because the movies are, of course, not over yet. But only time will tell. But as far as the comic books go that these movies are based off of, at least in Superman of all things, they have finally allowed the character to move on and have a wife and family, and I'm just overwhelmed. This is great. It's great news. And again, I want to give congratulations to DC for doing this. I think it's great. I think they're going to get a lot of readers for it, and a lot of people are going to come back now and want to read Superman, and maybe even some of the other characters, if they show that they have the guts to allow these characters to progress and have something else to fight for other than just saving the world or fighting the villain of the week. Have a personal life and something at stake that really means something. The comic books will now have a heart, especially when it comes to Superman. So like I say, this is overwhelming. I'm surprised, I'm shocked, and I only learned about it this past week or so, and it's just been a lot to take in, but it's a really good thing. And I can't believe they did it. They allowed a character, Superman of all things, to actually have a personal life. This is also going to help really wash the taste out of my mouth, or I should say out of my mind, of storylines like One More Day and Revelations, because those storylines were just so horrible, and they destroyed Spider-Man and any hope that I could have had to see Spider-Man grow and evolve as a character and become a husband and a father and have a personal life. This is really going to go a long way in helping me sort of get some therapy and get over what happened with Spider-Man and all those horrible storylines. So, hats off to DC, and hopefully, maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something good, something better, at least in DC Comics. If the rest of the world will catch up, I don't know. I doubt it, but time will tell. We'll just have to see. But in the meantime, I just wanted to let everybody know this and say congratulations to DC and to all of the fans of Superman and DC Comics. I think you're all in for a great treat, and I may just join you in watching the adventures of Superman and maybe some of the other heroes if they give them something else to do other than just, like I say, fighting the villain of the week and saving the world. This could get very, very interesting. So I hope DC sticks to this. I hope they follow it through, and I hope we have many, many years to come of stories with a married Superman and a Superman who has a family and a son. It's going to be really great. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say for now. This has been the Chipmunk, and we will see you later. Bye, everybody.